Hey guys, how's it going? Got something new. This is I believe it to be 1968 Cub Cadet 122. This has the 12-horse Kohler in it. It's got headlights on it. It's basically the same tractor as my 102 that I have, except for this is a 12-horse as opposed to mine, which has a 10-horse, and this one's not as pretty. Tractor came with a sleeve hitch on the back, mower deck, as well as a snowplow for the front. I do have the snowplow for it. I don't have the deck. That's going to be coming up here sometime later. Guy who I got it off of told me the tractor ran. It hasn't ran in a while, as well as the rear end has water in it, I believe. It would seize up during the winter when it got cold. The water inside the rear end would freeze, so that's going to be something we'll have to take care of. I'm not quite sure how to drain the fluid out of the rear ends on these tractors. I think there's a plug on the bottom of them. It's either on the bottom or in the back. So I guess we'll take a look at that here sometime later. Tractor does have a sleeve hitch on it, so that's going to come in handy. The plan, the ultimate plan for this tractor, I'm not quite sure yet what I want to do. I think I want to compare it to my 102 that I have and just look them over, I guess, and see how both of them look, which one's in better shape, and maybe send one of them up the road or keep them both. Not sure yet. So yeah, let's go on ahead, let's look this tractor over and let's see what we can figure out. I was told it supposedly ran. How long ago it ran, I don't know. So yeah, let's jump into it and see. So I guess the first things that we want to start with is the oil and also the air filter. Let's take a look at the oil and let's see what we find. It's full, way over full. Feels like oil, doesn't look milky. I don't think it's full of water. It looks alright. Oil looks clean, so I'm assuming, I'm gonna guess that that was probably changed. Whether it was actually or not, I'm not sure. One thing that I'm noticing is this. I really am not a fan of how that is routed. This should go realistically under the carb. Looks like it's got a brand new filter in it. It smells like old gas a little bit. Looks alright though. I'll let that slide. I see the spark plug is unplugged. That could be good, that could be bad. Oh boy. Let's pull that plug, see what we've got. Let's take a look at the plug. Oh boy, what do we have ourselves here? I have a feeling it burns oil. It don't look terrible. It definitely shows signs of oil burning though. So, I guess the first thing to check is, does it have gas in it? I guess we could throw a battery in it and see what it does. Check that engine, make sure that engine turns, which it does. Oh, that's just that. I don't know what that rubbing is. I believe I've made a full turn with it though, and it turned over fine. See if that clutch works. There we go. Well, that's not really the best way because it has the brake. Yeah, there's a brake in that. Damn it. I was gonna say, push that clutch pedal down and try to roll the tractor and see if it rolls, to see if the transmission disengages or not, but yeah, you're not gonna be able to do that. I forgot to have brakes like that, so, okay, never mind. Or well, I was gonna push it down to a certain point and see if it would do it, but no. Okay, so, I guess the next thing to do is to throw a battery in it. Throttle moves, choke moves, and actually has a spring. I notice there's a spring hooked up to it that pulls it back. That's actually a pretty good idea. So yeah, let me grab a battery, and I guess we'll throw a battery in it. It's got, I thought I heard gas in the tank. Yeah, it's got gas in the tank. I don't know if there's enough in there for it to run off of, but yeah, shaking it around, I thought I heard some in there. Shut off valve work. Shut off valve seems to work. I do not like that, and I am going to have to shorten this up some, but I guess for right now it's alright. Let me grab a battery, and let's get a battery stuck in it and see what it does. Went over there and I grabbed a battery. Let's see how difficult this thing is going to be to put in here. Positive, there's your negative. And actually, put both of these up. Negative goes here. We'll hook that up after we get the positive hooked up. That goes there. Cool, I can do that. I was wondering if I'd be able to do that or not, if there was enough. So we'll get these guys hooked on here. And then after we do that, we should be able to hook up our ground. Ground, negative, whatever. You know, actually that looks, from over there that looked like a 7/16. I think it is. It is, that's what I thought. I started looking at it and it looked a little bit bigger than the two that I had brought over here. Moron. There we go, now we're getting tight. So we'll get that one on there. And we'll come over here. And we'll hook this guy up. Didn't come with a key. I'm not surprised. So I'm gonna have to see if I can find a key that'll fit it. And if I have a key that'll fit it, then we'll try it. And we'll see if it'll start. And if it'll start, then, don't know. Take it up and down the driveway. So let's see if it'll start. I'm assuming that it's not going to. We're going to have to go through it, clean the carb more than likely. Just kind of jumping ahead of myself on things, but I want to see if it'll. There it goes. The key didn't seem like it wanted to fit. Let's see what it does. Spark plug's hooked up. getting gas. That's got gas in it. I doubt it. Maybe it needs a little bit of throttle. Let's take a look at the plug. Let's make sure that it has spark before we start to assume things. It might just be low on gas, or that gas might not be flammable. It's dry. It may not be getting enough gas to start. We got spark. Spark's not the issue. Decent spark, actually. So I wonder if it's just the gas. Maybe it's just not able to get to it. I think what I want to do is I want to run the fuel line a little bit differently. Well, let's just do this. Let's try that. Let's see what that does for us. I swear there's enough in there that it's covering the thing, but maybe it's not. Sometimes you shoot some newer gas in there, get it to ignite, and then once you get it to ignite, the newer gas, the older gas will ignite when the engine's warmer. I've had that happen before. Well, let's try that. I hope it didn't just leak out. We got sparks, so I know it's not the coil. Let's see if that fixes our problem. There we go. So it's either carb related or it's not getting enough fuel. I really think it's just not getting enough. Well, I really don't want to take that carb apart if I don't have to. I'm going to have to one way or another. Let me add some gas to it, and I'm just going to put a little bit more into it. Let's see if that fixes our problem. I put some new gas in it, just went ahead and filled the tank. Let's see what it does. Ready? Maybe that'll help it get up and go. Sound like it wanted to. So it should be these three Phillips or these three flat heads, and then once these three flat heads come out, the carb should be separated from the air filter housing. And then once it's separated from the air filter housing, you go in there, and there's two flathead bolts, flatheads with bolt heads on them. You loosen, and that pulls the carb. So we'll put that over there, and we'll grab that. And also this one. So we come in here and loosen these two. Cool, that came loose. I know you want to look into this carb just as badly as I do and see what is the deal with it. Second hand screwdriver. Oh yeah, look at that. That'll help me out a lot. Cool, that came off. Nice. So we'll come in here. And we'll take this one out, we'll pull it out to this side. This side will be easier to pull it out because the coil's on that side and we'll hit all that stuff trying to take it out. I have to loosen it up under both. So, I don't think it's the... Well, actually, that might be the original color carb. I don't think it is, though. It doesn't look like it. Because it looked a little bit different. Although it could be. That's out. Cool. So we'll just come over here and we'll take the spring off. There we go. Carb is off. Let's take it over to the bench and get a look. Alright, let's get this carb pulled apart and let's just see what we have here. Any gas in it? Yeah, stuff leaks out. So it was getting gas. Okay, so it wasn't on. I have a feeling it may have been the gas, but it more than likely wasn't. I was kind of hoping that it would just start, but yeah, no, I don't care. What the hell? What is that green? That's some kind of green sludge in it. Weird. What is that? Interesting. Yeah, this carb is... Ew, usually. Safe to say that carb is plugged up, I think. That moves. That should come out easy. A bunch of dirt just came off. Does the main jet come out of it, or is that going to be stuck? I'm surprised that turns. Yuck. There's that jet, there's that jet. Take it out, take this off if we can. I usually just try to strip them down as far as I can, that way I know that they're going through fully. The farthest you can get them down, the better. Sometimes the main jets come out and sometimes they don't. I don't know if that main jet's going to come out of it or not, but I guess we'll find out. And I think it should. Yeah, I think it should come out. If it doesn't, well, oh well. Not really much we can do. It's brass. It's a brass jet, and usually brass doesn't seem to play very well. Okay, we got it. Sometimes warming them up in the ultrasonic cleaner before you go to take them apart helps. So I guess there's a tip of advice for you. If you're dealing with one of these and it's stuck, sometimes you can spot it before it happens. The bit of the screwdriver will start to come out. Once you start to feel it come out, you've damaged this. If it spins all the way around, you've damaged your jet, and you'll probably never be able to get it out again. So what you do is, if you're having problems getting that to come loose, you throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner, run it for about half an hour, and you let it warm up, and once it warms up, you go back in there and try to get it out again. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. I've had it work, I've had it not work, so it's kind of a 50-50 chance. Same with other jets. If you get other jets that are stuck, that'll get them out. So taking out the seat helps fuel, or helps get the cleaner in there to clean it. I was asked what I run in my ultrasonic cleaner. I kind of run all kinds of different things. I used to run Dawn dish soap in it, or just really any dish soap I can get my hands on. I have lately been running Purple Power in it, the degreaser. Trying something different out just to see how it does, and so far it actually seems like it does pretty decent. There we go. And then usually a 10mm socket will take that out. There we go. I'd like to take that seal out if I can. If not, I'll just leave it in there, because sometimes they'll tend to break if you try to mess with them. I'll just leave it in there for now. So we'll throw that, and then I open the butterfly up on them. That way the water just flows right through. Water and everything flows right through the carb, and I'll put everything in them. You can put the bowl in upside down or right side up like that, and just throw everything in it. I used to have a thing in here, all the smaller stuff. I used to have a thing in here that I could put my jets and everything in, but it fell apart on me. And then I had this screen mesh that I put in there, but well, that fell apart on me too. So the reason I put that in there is because it has these squares in here. Stuff will just fall through that and go down into the tank, and you got to clean the tank out in order to get that stuff back out. Actually, right there, looks like there's still some pretty decent mesh. Set that stuff all right there, so I can flip that over and have it the way I want it to be, like that. Cool. Everything is in there that I want to be in there, yes. Cool. So we'll throw that in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then after we throw that in the ultrasonic cleaner, we will go on ahead and let it run for a while, and we will see how everything looks when we come back. Ran that carb through the ultrasonic cleaner. I let it sit in there overnight, and I ran it through again this morning just to get that green stuff out of it, and this is how it came out. This is actually after blowing it out with the air compressor. Now I cleaned this up with the wire wheel, and I cleaned that up with the wire wheel to make them a little bit better sealing to the gasket. But as you can see, this in here used to be full of that green stuff. No more green stuff inside the bowl, or inside there. And there's everything that came out, and as you can see, there's nothing in here anymore. What that green stuff was that we found in there, I don't know what that was. I'm assuming it was some kind of, I don't think it was an algae. I know diesel will get an algae, but I don't think gas will get an algae. This still has a little bit of that stuff to it, but I don't really think there's a way to get it completely off without getting aggressive with this, and if you puncture the float, you're screwed. So, but I let it sit in there overnight and let it soak, and then I came back out here this morning and I ran it for another hour. So now after running it for that last hour, now it seems like it's solidified. But now since it's ran for that last hour, it should be alright, and we should be able to get this thing put back together, no problems with anything else. And then the other thing I also do is I take the jets and I polish them. What I mean by polish is I clean them up on the wire wheel. I clean the heads up and I clean up the needles in here, that seat. That way they are nice and clean, and I go through there also, blow it out fully with the air compressor, and I run a little, sometimes I run a little torch tip cleaner through it depending on how bad it is. I don't think it needs it. It looked alright to me. Air blew through it just fine. So now it is just the tedious process of putting everything you took out back in. But I did the main jet with the wire wheel also, and the both brass jets, the air fuel mix as well as the idle. We just put the idle back in, and I just put the main jet back in. You don't want to put that in too horribly tight, but you want it in there tight enough to where it's not going to come out, and also where it seats inside the head. If it doesn't seat inside the head, fuel will leak around it, throwing off your mix, as well as it will come down and thread out, plugging this hole up and throwing off your air fuel mix. So yeah. And then this right here goes up in the top. This is your air fuel mix. The needle on this one goes down and it pokes through the hole in the bottom of there. Metering, it's a metering jet, I guess you could call it that, but it's what controls the air fuel mix that comes in. The fuel comes in here and it goes up through here, pulled in by that hole right there, and there's another hole on the other side. Goes up through that jet. This up here being tightened down up against, the needle being tightened down up against that hole. I don't know if you can see it in there or not, but it limits how much fuel goes up through the carb. Right here's where your air goes in, and it pulls the fuel up through into here, in with compression into the cylinder of the engine. That's how that works, and that's what this jet is for. The one over there controls the idle. This one you turn it in, or you kind of play with it to richen or lean out the idle. Sometimes you want it to run as smooth as you can possibly get it to, so that's the point of that one, and also the point of that one. If you're running too rich, you're bringing in too much gas. If you're running too lean, you're not getting enough gas. One way to spot running lean is you're going to have a cherry red exhaust, which that could be one of two things. One of a few things. It could be your valves aren't adjusted right, or the engine is running lean. Those are the only two I can really think of right now. So to fix the problem of it running lean, tightening this jet down to close it more closes this, causing it to run lean. Opening it like that, opening it going that way, opens this up, causing it to allow more fuel in, running rich. So you got to just kind of play with it and adjust it to the point where it's right. Same with that one. I hope that explanation makes sense. I'm thinking of 10 other things. So one thing that I have started to do, and it actually, where the hell's my? One thing that I have started to do is you just take a little bit of toothpaste, cleans your teeth, so it also polishes brass pretty well. I've done it. Take it, put it on a Q-tip, spin it like that. And that will clean out your seat. Ew. But you just do that, then you got to get whatever toothpaste is still in there out, and sometimes that takes a little bit of effort. This was black inside of here before. I'll show you what it looks like once I'm done. doing that. Actually, it already looks a hell of a lot better. It was black, it had that green stuff on it like what was inside the float bowl and in the carb. I don't think old gas would cause that. But it's got a little bit of a shine to it. That's what you want. You want it to have a little bit of a shine. If it shines, that's how you know it's polished. One of the ways you know it's polished, I guess. Yeah, that'll clean it up and make it seal better. There we go. It's still a little bit dark in there. It's not quite how I want it to look, but that's how it should look right there. Let me get the camera to focus. Can I get the camera to focus? Come on, camera, focus. Let's play with this. Oh well, but that's what it looks like right there. See how shiny it is on the inside? So that'll help it seal better. You could rinse that out if you wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it alone. It should be alright, and it looks fine. So we'll throw that back in there. I might need to change that crush washer. That might be alright. We'll throw that back in there, and we'll tighten him down. Once he is tightened down, there we go. That portion's done. That jets in, that jets in, that jets in. So then we just come over here and where's the seal? Oh, the seal's in the freezer. One problem with these seals for these carbs is they tend to expand. I let it run through the ultrasonic cleaner and it expanded a little bit, so you can throw them in the freezer and you can get them to shrink. And apparently this one wasn't in there long enough for it to shrink. But sometimes you can get them to shrink down enough, but unfortunately I don't think that one's going to shrink down enough. So we'll just grab, that's the only one I have, so we'll have to make it work. We'll just grab that one, which actually fits the bill perfect. And then we will come over here. Where is the needle? There's the needle. That's your needle. You take, clean that up. So then we take our needle, now that we have wiped it off, and we put it in there like that. Sometimes you might have to adjust this here. Where did the thing go? There it is. And then we'll come over here, put it like that. Sometimes you might have to adjust that float. Other times it should be alright. It might need to go down a little bit, but it should be okay. So now we can go on ahead and put this back together, and that part should be done. So now, since we have done that, there we go. Cool. So that's done. Now we just take that and we put it back in there. Some people will put Teflon tape on these. I don't do that because, well, you really don't need to. They seal just about right if you take them in far enough. Once they start to get hard to turn, that's where they begin to get their seal. So you just turn it in and around. Like that. And that should be nice and sealed, so that shouldn't give me any problems. Usually the adjustments that I run these to is 2.5, 2.25. So that should be in all the way. And you want to do this part by hand. You don't want to do this with a screwdriver, because if you do, you run the risk of screwing up the needles. Now I can do it with this because I'm bringing it out. So 1/2, 1, 1/2, 2, 1/2, 1/2, 1, 1/2, 2/4. There we go. So that's about where you want it. That's the starting one where I normally start them out at, and then once I start the engine up and let it run for a while and kind of listen to how it runs, I will adjust it from there until it sounds like it's running good. So let me go ahead and get this mounted onto the carb or onto the tractor, and once I do that we can get back. So I got the carb and everything put back onto this Cub. Let's go ahead and let's see what happens, and if it starts up and if it runs decent, or if we're going to have to get into it a little bit further. Ready? Seems to work. Nice. I'm not sure what that switch goes to. I thought it went to the headlights, but maybe not. Let me get that B out of the way and we'll take it out and drive it around. Sounds like it's dying. Something about that fuel system does not seem right to me. Oh yeah, now that it's warmed up, it probably needs an adjustment. I don't see any wires that go to that switch, so. Okay, there must not be any wires that go to it. I figured it was for the headlights, but maybe not. Just turn that out. It doesn't seem like it's getting enough gas. If I can keep it running, I can So I got it to idle. It actually idles pretty decent now. I threw the air filter assembly back on it. Runs pretty good. I think it burned out all the old gas after I brought it back. I managed to get it to run unchoked, so I kind of played with the carb a little bit until I got it to run just about perfect. And once it ran just about perfect, there we go. So yeah, it runs pretty nice. I'll throttle it up a little bit so you can see it. Redoing that fuel line. I am going to end up redoing that fuel line because it just gets in the way. It should be ran down underneath and up, but the way it's ran for whatever reason is it goes from there down, which, yeah, that works, but it gets in the way, so I'm not leaving it like that. So I will be getting that took care of. That'll be a later project though, so oh well. So I guess the next thing that we need to do now is we need to take it and drain out that rear end. Oh boy. Thing at the moment. It's kind of a nice tractor. I'm between selling it and keeping it. If I sell it, I have a couple friends in mind that I would sell it to. I probably wouldn't list this one on general marketplace. I'd try to get it to go to one of them. If not, then it'll probably end up sticking around here for a little while until I get sick of it. I want to compare it to the 102 that I have, and I want to see which one of them is better. This one I believe is a 68. I'm not quite 100% sure on it being a 68. So the next couple of things that it needs done is the rear end needs to be drained in it, as well as I need to figure out the throttle, because as you guys see, when I run the throttle, it throttles up way too high. So that's the next thing we got to get took care of on it. And yeah, and I also want to do the fuel line now that I think about it. So I guess let's go on ahead and get those two took care of, and once we get that took care of, we should be pretty good on the engine side. Next it'll be the transmission. Let's go on ahead and let's see if we can figure out the fuel system in this Cub. I grabbed the siphon. I want to drain the gas that is currently in the tank out. That way when we pull the fuel line off, it doesn't leak everywhere. It's got a full tank in it. The other thing I want to do is kind of just look at it and see if the tank is going to have to be cleaned out, because I had seen some kind of sludge in the carb, which actually doesn't look terrible. I want to see if I pull up any kind of dirt. You know, which actually looks fine. There is a fuel filter in the line. I don't know if that's going to stay there or not. I'm going to try to see if I can keep it there. Instead of running it the way that they have it run, I'm going to run it down and up, because I think that's a better way of running it. It uses more fuel line, but you're not running into the throttle linkage, and also you're not kinking it on anything. So that's what I'm going to do. Now on the 140s you can get away with running it that way, but that's because the gas tank is back a little bit further than it is on here. This is right on top of the engine pretty much, so let's go ahead and let's get this fuel system took care of. I already siphoned out the tank, so whatever's in there is residual from running it. So I want to get a little bit of a sample of it, and I want to see what the gas in here looks like. I actually should grab my little can, or I got my little cup. Let's see how the gas looks. There shouldn't really be much in there. Okay. I was going to say there shouldn't really be a whole lot in there. Should be drained out for the most part. That's what came out. It's kind of yellow. So I'm going to try to mix that up. I might even just put that gas in the B. There's the gas that came out of it. Looks alright. So just go on ahead and pull the line off right there. I want to move that over too. One of these two should be able to adjust that for us. It's just a matter of which. But I want to take this off, this clamp, and then I want to go in there and turn it. Actually, I wonder, well, we could use the line that's already here if we really wanted to. Personally, I'm a fan of using the clear line. Is this long enough? Well, actually, it might work. Goes up to it. Well, okay, I'm fine with that. That works. So I figured this might be interesting, and I better grab the camera. We're gonna go on ahead and drain the fluid out of the rear end of this tractor. So let's see about how this looks when it comes out. That came loose easy. Realistically, I'm not a fan of doing it that way, but that seemed to be the easiest way to get this to come out. Using the box end. Look at that. First thing we're greeted with is water. Nice. Ready? Let's see it. Oh yeah, yummy. So there we go. That's the gear oil. Nice. So yeah, I'm gonna let that drain probably for the course of a week. And because right now I don't have any fluid at the moment, I gotta get some. And once I get some new fluid for it, we can go on ahead and change it out. But yeah, there you go. There's the fluid. There was water in it for sure. I might actually want to go on ahead and take the back cover off of it and take care of that. So I'm gonna let that drain and I'll bring the camera back. So getting back into this Cub, I set my little funnel up. I'll show you the way that I'm going to do this. We drained the fluid out of this rear end. I got some more gear oil for it. That game was pretty simple. So now once we top this off, we should be all done with this rear end, and this tractor should be basically all done, because I think we got everything that needed to be with it that I can think of. Oh, I figured out the throttle linkage had problems, so we'll have to figure that one out another day. But here's some gear oil. You're supposed to put 80-90 in these. I actually got something a little bit thicker because they did not have 80-90 when I went in there to get it. And I was in a hurry and I needed it fast because Mason Sears needed gear oil for the transmission, so I just got what they had. This is 80-140, if I remember right. This should work. It's a lot thicker than the 80-90. However, it should do all right. It should lubricate the rear end enough to make it work. So I'm gonna go through the slow process of filling this thing up, and once we get this thing filled up, I'll bring you back and we'll fire it up and run it around and make sure it works. So getting back into this Cub, I got the rear end fluid changed. That new oil is in there. It took about an hour to get that stuff in there, so I'm probably not going to leave that in there because I don't like how thick that oil is. We'll let it around for a while. We'll see how it does. We'll see how it acts. If it gives me problems, we'll go on ahead and drain it back out, and I'll get to 80-90, like what I want to put in there anyway. I'm also thinking about taking the back cover off that transmission and just flushing it out, because it had water in it. I let it set for, I want to say I let it set for 2 or 3 days, sitting there draining out, so we'll see how it does. Let's go on ahead and let's try starting it up, see how it runs. It should run good. I haven't done anything to it. And then once we get it started up, we'll make sure it drives still, and that oil, we'll let the oil splash around and get wherever it needs to, where water was. So, and depending how it does, I'll move the home light and the B, and we'll take it out and play with it. You know, stupid, it'd help if you turn the gas on. Pretty well. I don't know. That's not really a bad tractor at all. Doesn't look like it burns oil or anything, so. Alright, well, let me get some stuff moved around, and I'm going to take it outside and run it around for a while just to get the fluid in the ascent flowing around, and once I do that, we'll reevaluate and see what else. You know, I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be. And in the event of editing this video together, I realized that I never made an ending for it. About a month late. So there you go. Alright guys, I want to take a second. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If it's your first time checking out my channel, I would really appreciate it if you'd go down below, hit that like button on the video, and also the subscribe button. Don't cost you a thing. Tells YouTube you guys like the videos and want to see more. Tells myself the same thing. That and you sat through this entire word salad, so you must have liked the video in that case. So, got a friend of mine who wants this tractor. It is no longer, well, got a friend of mine who wants this tractor. It's not going to be around the shop here for much longer. Probably by the time you guys see this video, it's already gone. He said something about it. He actually wants to trade it me for it. I wasn't planning on selling the tractor to the general public. I had a couple friends of mine who I was talking to and trying to see who wanted it before I just decided I was going to keep it around here. But I had a friend of mine show interest in it, so I'm just going to go on ahead and let it go down the road. So yeah, with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. We did throw the mower deck under it, and I did get a video of that. And also, I didn't really get any video of driving it around, I noticed. I just kind of did the work to it, and that was it. So hopefully the mowing video satisfies. I did throw the deck under it, like I said, and I tested the clutch. The clutch on the tractor actually works pretty good. I have no complaints about it. Engine does not burn any oil, so that's good. Transmission doesn't leak, so that's good. The one rear tire does still leak a little bit of air. It does have a slow leak to it, so that's something I'm going to have to either address or mention something about. I'll probably just mention something about it because I don't have a tube around here at the moment I could change that out with, so oops. So alright guys, I think that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, and I will catch hopefully all of you in the next video. Take care guys. Bye.